This has actually been a very painful, in a weird way, experience. Nicolle Wallace going on TV and sort of being proud of the fact that she worked for my father's campaign and then didn't vote for him. Seeing that is sort of the most egregious disloyalty that I have ever seen in politics.
Happy Thursday. Here's what we're buzzing about at News Beast with one of my favorite panels. We got Ramin and Meghan in the house.
Yay.
Yay. So we got presidential politics. We got George Clooney, Sudan. We've got a little game change wrap up. And to start with, we're going to go worst to first. We're starting Desperate Housewives.
Worse? Okay, John, you need to get over your dislike of news, because this is a big...
News?
This is a big... Yeah,
Seriously?
This is a big story. Maria Elena Fernandez in Los Angeles has been doing an amazing job. Everyone should follow her on Twitter, Writer Chica. She's been at the trial. A verdict is expected today. The jury will decide whether or not Nicolette Sheridan gets $3-some-odd million for being fired from the show because Mark Cherry slapped her, and whether the fact that she complained about being beaten at work, John, this is a serious story,
yes,
hit at work, was the reason why she was fired.
So she was fired, and she's saying she was fired because she was hit?
She was fired from the show, and prior to being fired, she complained about being hit by her boss. And HR did an investigation, but they didn't really investigate it. There have been tons of witnesses. You really sort of are getting an inside look at all the drama of a television show and how
the drama behind the drama.
A lot of the actresses didn't really like each other, and the writing was coming together. And I think it's been a really interesting case. And I think that, John, don't smirk at it.
I'm not smirking. I'm smiling.
This is a serious story.
Because
and
I can tell you, even you're trying to get excited about this.
No, I'm super excited about this.
Really?
And I'm curious to see what the jury
How
decides.
closely have you been following it?
I've been following it very closely. It's all over Twitter. Like
it is. No, it's a big deal.
Really talking about it. It's a big deal.
All right. So moving on, we're going to take steps from. We're just baby steps towards reality. So game change.
I didn't watch it.
I know.
I was at South
you
by
made
Southwest.
this, which is probably a good decision in the grand scheme because you can tape Game Change, but you can't tape South by Southwest.
Exactly.
But I was really struck by actually how fair they were to your father, and actually think he came out looking extraordinarily well in terms of being a man of integrity, and the selection of Palin being a gamble that turned out bad because the right questions weren't asked. But tell me what in the fallout around it, understanding you haven't seen it yet,
No.
what kind of has been your perception?
I have two really quick stories. The first one is that yesterday I was at MSNBC and I was talking to Alex Witt in the hall, and Mark Halperin walked by and she was like, "Mark Halperin, I love you." And I was like, "Mark Halperin, I hate you." And he literally bolted the other way.
You made Mark Halperin cry?
He just he got very, as he would, I was like, "I hate you, Mark Halperin." He was like, "Ah," and he walked off, and I was like, "Ain't that karma, seeing you in the hall the weekend after?" So I feel like I got a little bit, and I called my father immediately after. I was like, "I just told Mark Halperin I hated him, for you and my family." So
and
just
what did
for
he
the
say?
record, he started laughing. He's like, "That's my girl." Okay. But the other thing is that when I did News Beast last week or the week before talking about Game Change, there were some people that thought I was making extreme light of it. And this has actually been a very painful, in a weird way, experience. And it's more so that I get to relive these people like Nicolle Wallace going on TV and sort of being proud of the fact that she worked for my father's campaign and then didn't vote for him. This was my life. It's a huge legacy with my family, and seeing that is sort of the most egregious disloyalty that I have ever seen in politics. And I think Steve Schmidt and Nicolle Wallace, if they ever had any kind of respect for what the campaign was, they should show a little bit more respect for my family and what kind of a historic thing that they had the opportunity to be a part of.
I don't understand. I mean, I understand personally as well as in the retelling the deep concerns that the appointment of Sarah Palin created in people when they started figuring out that she didn't have a lot of stuff figured out and that wasn't remotely ready to be vice president.
I don't completely agree with that.
Okay, but I mean, the movie corresponded to what I experienced covering it, and again, I think a person who's very smart in some respects but hadn't been studied up, was just thrown in the deep end and wasn't ready for the depth of the challenge. But I don't understand what you just remarked, which is why I don't know what state Nicolle Wallace was registered in, but
I just
why
felt
not vote it?
compelled to say that someplace, and I haven't been on MSNBC since, and it has actually been something that has been difficult for me to watch because, you know, now that everyone knows, you know, there's different versions of the story, but Steve Schmidt and Nicolle Wallace were the people single-handedly responsible for finding Sarah Palin, and now they just trash her all day long, and they did not treat her with the respect that she should have deserved. Again, this is well documented, but reliving this from their perspective as if we did them a favor by them working on my father's campaign has been a complicated and difficult thing for me to watch.
I totally hear that. And that segue to something that I'm fascinated by. Lloyd Grove has a piece in the Daily Beast today looking at George Clooney coming back from Sudan, where he and John Prendergast made a really under the radar trip a few days ago and got in the middle of a rocket attack. And it's focusing on what's going on in some of these provinces in the northern part
Now
of the
John
country.
wants to talk about celebrities.
Well, because I am really interested.
Your BFF George Clooney.
No.
Go ahead, sorry.
I'm really interested in the way that some celebrities have used their celebrity to get people to care about something more important than celebrity. And that's the point of what Clooney's done with Sudan. And I think, honestly, he saved a lot of lives by helping people become more aware of what's actually going on. Final word.
Housewives.
Really? We're just going to do that?
We're going to go back to the story of the day.
Story of the day.
Story of the
Biggest
day.
thing in the world. $3 million?
Not the biggest thing in the world, but it's the story of the day. Housewives.
Okay.
I'll go with Sudan.
Really?
Go.
All right. I'll do Game Change just to return the favor. Game Change. A lot of that going on. That's what's all for us at News Beast. We'll see you tomorrow. That was fun, guys.